The glare of the production lights was relentless, making the curated perfection of the Malibu beach house feel like a beautiful prison. It was the final week of filming for Coupled, the reality show that was supposed to cement Ethan and Liam Hale as Hollywood's most devoted pair. A host's effervescent voice broke the manufactured calm, directing a playful question at Ethan. The cameras zoomed in, hungry for a soundbite about his ideal beach day activity. Ethan looked directly into the lens, his expression unreadable. He considered the sand, the waves, the man sitting beside him, and stated a single, devastating desire: a divorce. An absolute silence fell over the room, so profound it was as if the ocean itself had held its breath. On the monitors, the live-stream chat became an unreadable waterfall of text. Not long ago, Ethan had been the internet's prime example of a man utterly besotted, the lesser-known artist orbiting the brilliant star that was Liam Hale, the celebrated actor. Now he was the one igniting the fire. A fellow cast member, trying to salvage the moment, offered a nervous laugh, suggesting Ethan must have misspoken, perhaps meaning something about the exhausting interview segments planned for later. Ethan just gave a small shake of his head, a faint, humorless smile on his lips. He began to clarify that no, he meant exactly what he said, but was cut short. A firm hand cupped the back of his head, turning his face with decisive force. A moment later, a familiar warmth pressed against his lips, silencing him completely as the other guests erupted into surprised cheers. The director, seizing the opportunity, abruptly cut the live feed. Ethan shoved Liam away with more force than he'd ever used, the sharp crack of his hand against Liam's cheek echoing in the now quiet space. The guests scattered, leaving the two of them alone in the cavernous living room. Liam's brow furrowed, his voice laced with a coldness Ethan had rarely heard directed at him. He asked what was wrong. Pushing his dark hair back from his forehead, Ethan undid the top button of his shirt, a wave of fury rising in his throat. Moments before the broadcast, he had stumbled, hitting his head against a door frame. The impact had unlocked something, a torrent of memories that weren't his own flooding his mind. He now understood that his life was a pre-written story, and he was cast as the villain. He sneered, the carefully constructed facade of the gentle, artistic husband crumbling away. He told Liam he was done pretending, that he was tired of the act. He watched Liam, expecting shock or anger, but the actor's expression remained placid. Liam simply acknowledged his statement, then calmly instructed him to uncross his legs, citing that it was bad for his knees. The response was so unexpected it felt like punching a cloud. It left Ethan feeling foolish, his grand declaration of rebellion deflated. Liam then stepped closer, his expression softening as he refastened the button on Ethan's shirt, his warm breath ghosting across Ethan's skin. For a moment, Ethan didn't push him away. Liam took his hand, his touch gentle, and said it was time to get back to filming. That was Liam's way, disarming and infuriatingly composed, making it impossible to sustain any righteous anger against him. Their story had begun at Ethan's 18th birthday party. Back then, Ethan was the quintessential trust fund kid, coasting on family money with a rebellious streak. Liam was already a phenomenon, an actor who debuted at 17 and won his first major award by 20. His talent was undeniable, his face a study in classical perfection. He was also notoriously aloof, a private man in a public profession. Ethan became obsessed. He researched Liam's tastes in food, fashion, and people, discovering a supposed preference for a type that was quiet, pure, and sweet. Looking at his own reflection, with his then fiery red hair and punk aesthetic, Ethan had committed to a total transformation. 2 months later, he had mastered the art of the white button-down shirt, and the gentle, unassuming smile. It took another 6 months of strategic appearances before Liam finally noticed him, and a full year of careful, calculated seduction before they were officially together. Even after 2 years of marriage, Ethan was still captivated by him. He had always believed that beneath the cool exterior, Liam must have felt something to have agreed to the marriage. But the new, unwelcome knowledge screaming in his head told a different story. Liam had been coerced, and he was destined to leave Ethan for his one true love. Suddenly, all those years of one-sided affection and unanswered warmth clicked into place with painful clarity. Liam led him back before the cameras, the white-hot rage from earlier having cooled to a dull ache. Work came first. He'd stormed into the entertainment industry against his family's wishes. All for Liam. He had built a career from scratch, and he wouldn't throw it away with an on-set meltdown, not for his own pride or for the fans who supported him. Liam handed him a bottle of water before going to speak privately with the director. A younger reality star, Leo, sidled up to him, whispering to ask if he was okay. Leo was sweet, almost naive, and hopelessly in love with his husband, a top-tier musician. Ethan felt a pang of pity for him and ruffled his hair, assuring him he was fine and telling him to get back to his own husband before the man got the wrong idea. The day's task was to conduct street interviews about modern life's pacing. Ethan walked with a newfound swagger, hands shoved in his pockets, while Liam followed a step behind, holding the microphone. When Liam reached for his hand, Ethan sidestepped the gesture. His head throbbed, a chaotic jumble of competing realities. The relentless California sun beat down, amplifying his irritation. They finally found a young woman in elaborate cosplay. She recognized Liam instantly, her excitement palpable. After the interview, as Liam was putting the equipment away, she unfurled a handmade banner from her backpack. In bold letters, it read, "My life can be a dumpster fire, but my OTP sheets must be a mess." She declared their couple name with the fervor of a true believer. Before they even made it back to the house, Ethan's agent, Liz, was on the phone. He stepped away from the cameras to take the call. Liz's voice was a frantic mix of exasperation and concern, demanding to know what was happening with him and Liam. She had known him since he was a reckless teenager and was stunned to see his real personality emerge on a live broadcast. Ethan remembered how he had pleaded with Liam for weeks to agree to do this show, wanting to prove to the world their marriage was real. Now it was all imploding. He promised Liz he would see the filming through to the end. Back at the house, he locked himself in their bedroom. He felt fractured, torn between the 20-plus years of his own lived experience and the sudden, chilling certainty that he was just a disposable character in someone else's love story. The air conditioning hummed as exhaustion finally took over. In his dreams, the story played out in vivid detail. Liam's true love was a man named Caleb, a brilliant musician. They had been in love in high school, an unspoken thing, before Caleb left to study overseas. In this narrative, Ethan used his family's influence to force a resentful Liam into marriage. The dream showed Caleb's return, Ethan's subsequent jealous rampages, and the final, bitter divorce. It ended with Ethan, drunk and enraged after seeing their public declaration of love, crashing his car and dying alone. The look of pure disgust on the dream Liam's face haunted him. It wasn't just coolness, it was loathing. He woke with a gasp, tears stinging his eyes, to find himself held securely in Liam's arms. Liam's voice was soft, stripped of its on-camera reserve, murmuring that it was just a bad dream and he was there. His thumb gently wiped a tear from Ethan's cheek, his expression one of profound love. For a disoriented moment, Ethan leaned into the comfort. Then he saw that face, the same face from the nightmare, and he scrambled upright, grabbing a pillow and swinging it wildly. He screamed at Liam, a torrent of accusations and hurt pouring out of him, culminating in a raw, ragged demand for a divorce. The carefully constructed persona was gone, replaced by pure, unfiltered rage. He lunged, grabbing a handful of Liam's hair and striking him. Liam, stunned, finally caught his flailing arms, his eyes flashing with a sharp, cold light. Before Ethan could finish his tirade, Liam's mouth was on his, a kiss that was more conquest than affection. It was bruising and desperate until Ethan's pained gasp made him soften. By the time they broke apart, Ethan's clothes were in a heap on the floor. Though they didn't go all the way, his skin was a roadmap of red marks, a particularly dark one blooming on his collarbone. Liam didn't escape unscathed. Angry red scratches marred his neck, and the faint print of Ethan's hand was still visible on his cheek. Ethan turned away, a cold fury settling in his chest. A knock at the door signaled the start of the afternoon's filming. Weak and aching, he allowed Liam to dress him. As Liam finished buttoning the clean shirt, he wrapped his arms around Ethan's waist from behind. He quietly asked why he wanted a divorce. Ethan's mind screamed, to save his own life. But he said nothing. Liam's breath was hot against his ear as he delivered a quiet, chilling ultimatum, telling Ethan that he was the one who started this, and he didn't have permission to end it. Ethan scoffed internally. Such a convincing actor. He knew that as soon as Caleb returned, Liam would be the one begging for a divorce. The timeline in his head suggested it would be soon. Very soon. Dressed, Ethan pulled away from Liam's grasp and went to the vanity. He rummaged through his luggage, finding an unopened tube of concealer. He began clumsily dabbing it onto the mark on his neck, but Liam's hand closed over his, stopping him. Liam's voice was filled with genuine confusion as he asked why he was covering it. It was true. At the beginning of the show, Ethan had practically begged for visible marks like these, desperate to display their supposed passion. Now he just looked at Liam, his voice flat, and told him it was none of his business. Caleb appeared sooner than Ethan expected. He didn't meet Liam at the airport as in the dream. He walked right onto their set. On the last day of filming, he arrived, introduced as a friend and musical collaborator of another guest. As the tall, striking figure stepped into the light, Ethan recognized him instantly. He had a head of sun-bleached blonde hair styled in a wolf cut and a single black stud in his left ear. He was even more handsome in person. When their eyes met, Ethan quickly looked away. Caleb greeted Liam with a familiar long time, no see. Liam rose and shook his hand politely. But from Ethan's vantage point, he saw it clearly. As Caleb pulled his hand back, his pinky finger subtly hooked against Liam's palm. A jolt, sharp and unpleasant, went through Ethan. He viciously bit into a piece of steak. So it begins. Then, Caleb was standing in front of him, a charming smile on his face, extending a hand and complimenting his voice. In front of the cameras, Ethan had no choice but to be polite. He shook Caleb's hand. As they parted, he felt the same light, tickling sensation of a finger brushing against his palm. Ethan's eyes widened. Caleb was flirting with him, too. His mind reeled. The noble, pining lover from his dream was a player? This wasn't in the script. Before he could process it, Liam took his hand, produced a sanitary wipe from seemingly nowhere, and began scrubbing at his palm with such vigor it nearly chafed the skin raw. Liam then turned his head, his voice low and possessive, and asked if he'd had a good look. Ethan, still stunned, nodded numbly. A lolling sound escaped Liam's lips. So possessive. The next day, the show wrapped. Liam had to leave early for a film premiere, but not before Ethan to stay away from Caleb. The nerve. After 5 years of devotion, this was the trust he got. Fuming, Ethan was dragging his suitcase through the airport when Caleb intercepted him. He asked for Ethan's contact info, a playful glint in his eye. Cornered, Ethan reluctantly scanned his QR code. He braced himself for a follow-up message, to stay away from Liam. But nothing came. Instead of going to the home he shared with Liam, Ethan went to his own apartment in the city. He slept for hours, waking to a phone buzzing incessantly. His best friend, Josh, was the first call he answered. Josh's voice was furious. He told Ethan to check the tabloids. Liam had been caught. Paparazzi had snapped photos of him and Caleb entering a hotel late at night. The story was the #1 trending topic online. Josh connected the dots to Ethan's on-air divorce announcement. Realizing Ethan must have known something was wrong, the pictures were damning. The internet was a predictable frenzy of speculation and condemnation. Fans were divided, but a vocal contingent was now on Ethan's side, flooding his mentions with messages of support. Liam had sent a text, asking where he was, having found their home empty. Ethan ignored it and turned off his phone. The events of the past few days felt like a fever dream. Lying in the quiet of his own space, the reality of it settled in. His entire relationship had been a lie, a role he'd been playing in a story that wasn't even about him. He had been the fool, chasing a man who was merely tolerating him. But Ethan was no one's victim. He got up, called Josh, and told him it was time to go out. He went straight to a boutique on Rodeo Drive, emerging in a black tank top and cargo shorts. At a salon, he had his hair bleached a stark, defiant silver. Looking in the mirror, he barely recognized the soft, agreeable man from the reality show. This was him. He met Josh at an exclusive club in West Hollywood, a place he used to frequent before he'd sanitized his life for Liam. His old friends greeted him with cheers and knowing sympathy, pouring him drinks and promising to find him someone better. He was just starting to feel the alcohol's pleasant haze when the private room's door swung open. A tall figure blocked the light. Before Ethan could focus his swimming vision, a hand gripped his arm, pulling him to his feet and into a hard chest. The sudden movement made his head spin. He pushed back, annoyed, asking who the hell it was. A familiar, cool scent of sandalwood and bergamot cut through the club's stale air. He was sober in an instant. Looking up, he saw Liam's face, a mask of cold fury. Liam all but dragged him from the club and pushed him into his car, speeding through the city streets so fast Ethan felt sick. He stumbled out of the car and threw up in the manicured bushes of an unfamiliar high-rise. Liam appeared at his side with a bottle of water, his face still grim. Ethan rinsed his mouth and finally asked what he wanted. Liam was silent for a long moment, his gaze sweeping over Ethan's new look, lingering on the exposed skin of his arms and shoulders. Finally, he said, his voice flat, that the tabloid story was fake. He then stated, with unnerving certainty, that Ethan was angry. Ethan turned away. Even if it were true, it didn't matter. They were getting a divorce. The apartment was a large, impeccably decorated penthouse Ethan had never seen before. Exhausted and desperate for a shower, he followed Liam inside without another word. After washing away the grime of the night, he emerged to find Liam gone. He found an empty guest room and fell into bed. Sometime in the night, he felt a presence beside him, the familiar scent telling him it was Liam. He felt his arm being gently lifted, and a warm, soft pressure against his skin before he drifted off again. When he woke, Liam was gone from the room. The ghost of a touch remained on his forearm. He looked down and saw the faint 2-inch scar there. He'd gotten it years ago before they were together. He had been visiting Liam's set when a crazed fan had lunged. Ethan had instinctively shielded him, and the fan, recognizing him as Liam's persistent suitor, had pulled a knife. The wound wasn't deep, but it was enough to land him in the hospital. Shortly after he was discharged, Liam had agreed to date him. At the time, he'd been delirious with joy. Now, he understood it was likely guilt, not love, that had motivated him. The door opened and Liam walked in with a glass of water. He asked if Ethan's head still hurt. His voice was softer, and he seemed to be speaking more than usual. Ethan ignored the questions and said what he'd been thinking all morning. He stated calmly that he was serious and wanted an amicable split. He slipped the wedding ring from his finger, a ring he hadn't removed in years, and placed it on the nightstand. Liam watched him, his expression unreadable, then turned and left the room without a word. The divorce proceedings began. In the meantime, Ethan leaned into his new freedom. He met up with Leo from the show for a shopping trip. They were leaving a store when a man with a familiar shock of blonde hair blocked their path. It was Caleb. Leo immediately stepped in front of Ethan, his demeanor shifting from friendly to protective. Caleb held up his hands in a gesture of peace, a smile playing on his lips. He greeted Leo, mentioning he worked with his husband often, and offered a handshake. As they shook, Ethan saw it again, the subtle movement of the pinky. This time, Ethan snapped. He grabbed Caleb's wrist, demanding to know what his problem was. Caleb looked genuinely startled. He insisted he wasn't doing anything. Ethan accused him of constantly touching people's hands inappropriately. Caleb's expression shifted from surprise to weary resignation. He held up his right hand, showing them a thin, pale scar that ran across his palm. He explained that a high school injury had caused minor nerve damage, resulting in an uncontrollable twitch in his little finger. It was the most absurd, yet strangely plausible explanation Ethan had ever heard. To further prove his innocence, Caleb added that he and Liam were just friends, that the hotel meeting was just to catch up, and that besides, he already had a boyfriend who was still overseas. He pulled out his phone, showing them a picture of a curly-haired boy holding a guitar. Ethan went home, his head spinning. If Caleb had a boyfriend, then the entire premise of the novel of his role as the villain was wrong. Did Liam not love Caleb? He opened his chat with Liam, but the last message was still Liam's unanswered query from days ago. He typed and deleted a dozen messages before giving up. Even if Liam didn't love Caleb, it didn't change the fact that he didn't love Ethan either. That evening, as he was leaving to meet Josh for dinner, he saw Liam's car parked outside his building. A figure in all black was hunched by the flower beds. As Ethan approached, the smell of alcohol hit him. Liam was drunk. Hearing his footsteps, Liam looked up, and upon seeing him, scrambled to his feet and stumbled forward, collapsing against him. He buried his face in Ethan's neck, his voice thick and slurred, begging him not to leave him, admitting he was wrong. This was a side of Liam Ethan had never seen. Clingy, vulnerable, and utterly broken. He canceled on Josh and wrestled the taller man back up to his apartment. Liam wouldn't let go, pulling them both down onto the bed, repeating no divorce like a mantra. A tiny, foolish hope Ethan thought he'd extinguished began to flicker back to life. He took a shaky breath and asked the question that had haunted him for years. "Do you love me?" Liam lifted his head, his eyes glassy but focused. He shifted, pinning Ethan beneath him, and nuzzled his face against his chest like a lost puppy. He finally settled at his lips, brushing against them gently. "Love you," he whispered, the words punctuated by soft, tentative kisses. "I love you, Ethan." The confession sent a shockwave of heat through Ethan's entire body. This drunken, affectionate man was a world away from the cool, composed celebrity he knew. Taking advantage of his candid state, Ethan pressed further, asking when Liam had started to have feelings for him. A slow, beautiful smile spread across Liam's face. First sight. Before Ethan could ask all the questions swirling in his mind, Liam's eyes fluttered shut, and he fell into a deep, drunken sleep. The next morning, Ethan woke to find Liam watching him, his expression sober and clear. His arm was still draped possessively over Ethan's waist. He asked quietly if they could call off the divorce. Ethan turned to face him, needing to hear it again, sober and true. He asked if Liam really loved him. Liam's hand tightened, his voice husky with sleep. "I do. I love you." Ethan retorted that he'd never shown it, that his constant coldness made him feel like an inconvenience. Liam's expression became urgent. He explained that his reserved nature was just who he was, and he thought Ethan liked that about him, since it was the persona Ethan had pursued. He promised, with a desperate sincerity, that he would change if Ethan wanted him to. Ethan's heart swelled. He was about to relent when he realized, with a jolt, that if this was true, then his entire divorce campaign was based on a lie, a false memory implanted in his brain. As if reading his mind, Liam suddenly spoke. "I think I know what you're thinking. Ethan, did you awaken?" The word sent a shiver down Ethan's spine. He asked how Liam knew. Liam explained that he and Caleb had both awakened years ago, in high school. The knowledge of the novel had appeared in their minds simultaneously. He said they were only ever friends, and the idea of a fated romance between them was repulsive to both of them. They decided to follow the general career paths laid out in the story because they liked them but ignored the rest. He admitted that when Ethan first started pursuing him, he had been wary, keeping his distance because he thought Ethan was just another character playing a role. But then he saw glimpses of the real person underneath the facade, the loud, passionate, and sometimes clumsy man, and he fell in love. He pulled Ethan tightly against him, burying his face in his hair. "I love you, Ethan. Not the character. You. Whatever your hair color is, whatever clothes you wear. It's always been you. So please, can we not get a divorce?" The earnest, heartfelt confession melted the last of Ethan's resistance. He burrowed into Liam's embrace, his voice muffled against his chest. "No divorce. Not even if 10 more Calebs show up." After a long, lazy morning in bed, a thought occurred to Ethan. He asked how Liam had known where this apartment was, or how he'd found him at the club. A faint blush crept up Liam's neck. He glanced away, then admitted, with a touch of shame, that he had installed a location tracker on Ethan's phone. Shortly after Ethan moved back in, Liam posted a single photo on his social media. A close-up of Ethan's hand, the silver wedding band back in its rightful place, resting in his own. The internet predictably exploded. The comments ranged from cynical to overjoyed. Ethan scrolled through them, laughing, as Liam came up behind him, wrapping his arms around his waist. He rested his chin on Ethan's shoulder and murmured, asking if he could maybe not wear outfits like the one from the club again. Ethan feigned innocence, asking what he meant. Liam fell silent, just watching him with a pleading look in his eyes that made Ethan's heart melt. He smiled, turning in Liam's arms to loop his own around his neck. He gave him a quick kiss. Only at home, he whispered against his ear, "Just for you." He felt the ear flush hot against his lips as Liam pulled him closer, his mouth finding Ethan's in a searing kiss that promised a new, unscripted beginning.